It's UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. On tonight's show, star of Dorm Life, Chris Smith. And now, the man who can hold his own and usually does, Mason Lowry.
Yeah. Hey. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. It's UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. Got a great show tonight. Jim, we got a great show, right?
We do have a great show. Great guest.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I've seen you in a while. How have you been? What's been going on with
I've been
you?
well. How about you? Stressful week, but other than that,
Stressful week? Why? What did you do?
What's that now?
I said, what did you do? Why was it stressful?
Just a lot of schoolwork. We're building up to that dreadful exam week. So
isn't it always?
It is.
I hate that stuff. That's why you should be here. You should be watching the show because laughter is, in fact, the best medicine. Unless you're diabetic, in which case insulin is the best medicine. But
this is true.
Yeah. It was a big week for President Obama. He had another go at giving gifts to British leaders. You know, he's in England right now. Did you know that, Jim?
I did. Yeah, I heard about this.
He's in England. He's doing stuff right now. He's giving gifts. This time, he gave an iPod to Queen Elizabeth. Next on his list of gifts, a year's worth of dental care for Prince Charles. He's got the bad British teeth. That's not good. The president's face was really red, though, when he found out what the first track on the iPod was. It was actually the Sex Pistols version of God Save the Queen, and that's not a good thing. That's pretty an anti-royalty song, isn't it, Jim?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Never heard it before, have you?
I have not.
No, you haven't. And, you know, also over there, Michelle Obama, she almost created an international incident earlier this week when she hugged the Queen, which apparently violates some sort of protocol. Apparently, when meeting the Queen, you're supposed to give her a fist bump. I don't know, That's one of those new things that they do now, I guess. I don't know.
These
I don't
kids
know what
these
the
days.
are doing. We got some big news here at UT Nighttime. I haven't announced this to anyone on the staff or anything, so this is brand new for everyone. Jay Leno, as we all know, he's moving to 10 o'clock later this year, leaving The Tonight Show. Conan O'Brien's taking over. But the NBC affiliate in Boston is not going to air his new show. What? In its place, at 10 o'clock, UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah. I think that's a pretty great thing.
I agree.
One person agrees with me. I think it's good. We're gonna.
I will always blindly agree, Mason.
Yeah. A lot more people going to see us starting in September. Elsewhere in the world, a Chinese beer called Snow has been proclaimed the most popular beer in the world in terms of volume. This beer is doing quite a bit better than the last leading Chinese beer, Bud Lead. A couple people like that. That's good. A psychic came out this week, said that on the set of Grey's Anatomy, you know, the popular show on ABC, the set of Grey's Anatomy is being haunted by a heavyset ghost. As it turns out, that ghost is actually the ghost of According to Jim. Wasn't a good show. Elsewhere, a couple in New York City has been charged with child endangerment after their 7- and 8-year-old sons showed up to school high on marijuana. Can you believe that? I know, marijuana. I agree. It's a terrible thing. Teachers questioned the sobriety of the children after they tore through the other kids' lunches and then took an extra nap time. That went over real well. People like marijuana.
I got it. It's okay.
Detroit Tigers pitcher Dontrell Willis, you might have heard about this, was put on the, or in English placed on the disabled list after a blood test showed that he had an anxiety disorder, marking the first time in Major League Baseball history that a blood test revealed something other than steroids. I didn't like that. A man in New Jersey has been arrested after a string of bank robberies he committed in which he dressed up like a woman. He's been dubbed the cross-dressing bandit by media out on the East Coast, and I don't know about you good people, but I'm just glad that K-Fed has found something he's good at. We hadn't heard from him in a while. Now we have. Bernie Madoff's back in the news. He's going to be on a baseball card that's part of a set that features the world's biggest hoaxes, hoodwinks, and bamboozles. When asked to comment, it's not funny yet, I didn't do anything. Guy snickering in the front row. When asked to comment, Madoff said that his card should fetch at least $40 billion. The reigning Miss Universe winner, Diana Mendoza of Venezuela, took a trip to Guantanamo Bay last week. She described the prison on her blog as fun and relaxing, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is also what Dick Cheney called it. A German woman divorced her husband of 15 years last week because he cleaned too much, which apparently unbeknownst to me, is German for "my husband is gay." This is all going over real well. Yesterday, the Pittsburgh Pirates lost to Manatee Community College 6-4 in a spring training game. That's pretty bad. Remember how? You might remember, Jim, how the Steelers won the Super Bowl earlier this year.
I do recall.
Big rioting in Pittsburgh, turning over cars. They're going to have to do that this year if the Pirates win 40 games. It's because they're bad. And finally, a cereal box company in Oregon is in the news this week. A misprint on some of their boxes led people who wanted to call the company to actually dial a phone sex line. All right, I guess this proves that there is more than one way to get your waffle crisp. All right, hopefully we've got a great show for you tonight. Chris Smith, star of the online hit sensation Dorm Life, is here on the program. That's great. He's a real good guy. You guys are going to get to meet him. We'll be right back with hopefully some funny stuff right after this. UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. We got a great show tonight. I'm really excited about this guest. We've got a guy who's he's a genuine internet celebrity. He is the host, creator, and writer of a very popular program called Dorm Life. We're going to hear from him, Chris Smith, in a little bit. You've seen that show, haven't you, Jim?
I have. You showed me some clips online, and
great show.
Looks like a good show.
It's a very funny show. I would say it is. Good program. But first,
new one coming out Monday too, right?
Yes, we have an exclusive clip, so you're going to want to watch that. But first, we're going to try to do something funny ourselves. Now, as some of you might know, broadcasters are supposed to broadcast in the public interest. We don't bother much with that here at UT Nighttime. And so naturally, we've gotten some complaints from some people to the FCC that we should be broadcasting in the public interest. So tonight, we are going to fulfill our public service requirement by bringing you a bit that we like to call This Week in History. Got everything right here. Thank you for that spontaneous applause. Got right here in this manila envelope things I'm required to read to you by the FCC. All these things actually happened. I must stress that. All right, in the year 240 BC, the first recorded perihelion passage of Halley's Comet. That was a big thing. It's a big thing. In 1870, Texas is finally readmitted to the Union following Reconstruction. That's good, isn't it, Jim?
That sounds good, yeah.
Sounds good.
Decent.
1889, this week in 1889, the Eiffel Tower is constructed. Eiffel Tower. Also in 1889, drunken Parisians begin urinating on the Eiffel Tower.
I wasn't aware of that, but...
Neither was I. Apparently it happened. 1924, the Royal Canadian Air Force is formed. They're good people. I like Canadians. They're good. 1940, Pat Nixon, wife of future U.S. President Richard Nixon, learns for the first time why her husband would come to be known as Tricky Dick. It's a bit of a slow burn, I think, there. 1954, due to a missed decimal point, minimum wage in the United States becomes $1,006 an hour. That seems highly unlikely. That's a lot of money.
I agree. I'm for it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Wasn't funny at all. 1967, the product Vagisil. That's kind of an embarrassing product, isn't it? The product Vagisil is invented by Dr. Manuel Q. Vagisil. What an unfortunate last name that is for that man.
Yeah.
1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson announces he will not run for re-election. That happened. He was a good president, as I recall. I don't recall. That was long before I was born, but you knew what I meant. 1972, actor Charlie Chaplin returns to the U.S. for the first time since being labeled a communist during the Red Scare in the early 1950s. Some heavy-duty stuff. 1986, IBM unveils their first laptop computer, allowing losers to watch pornography wherever they want. I think that's a pretty accurate statement. Losers do that, from what I understand. I'm not one. I wouldn't know. Holy Lord. 1999, the Baja Men let the dogs out in Orlando, Florida, resulting in the deaths of 49 people and causing injury to hundreds more. That was a tragic day. Yeah. I remember that. That was bad. 2001, same-sex marriage becomes legal in the Netherlands, which is the first country to allow it. Very progressive society, the Dutch. Good, they're good people. 2002, the first same-sex divorce in the Netherlands is finalized, and lawyers don't know who gets the cats. And mercifully, 2006, Twitter chairman Jack Dorsey divorces his wife after finding her tweeting another man. That's a bad time. Well, That went over real well. Thank you, FCC. Thank you very much indeed. We'll be right back. We're going to hear from Chris Smith of Dorm Life right after this. Stay tuned. Back UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. We've just struggled through a couple of attempted comedy bits, so hopefully we're going to have something great for you right now. My first guest tonight, we're really pleased to have this guy, not in our studio, but live via satellite. He is the creator, writer, and star of the popular YouTube program Dorm Life. His name is Chris Smith. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, Chris Smith, everybody. Give a nice...
Hello!
Yeah. Chris, thanks for doing the show. It's great to have a...
Hey, this is very exciting. I was going to say, this is very exciting. This is one, I think, the first digital interview, like late-night digital interview segments.
Yeah, it's the first one we've done, so you're our guinea pig. Hopefully you survive the night. So, Dorm Life, you guys have this wildly successful program. How did all of this come about?
Yeah, well, I was a part of a group at UCLA that was kind of a comedy troupe, and there was 7 of us who ended up becoming the writers of Dorm Life. We met at college at UCLA, and at the same time, I'd kind of been developing a relationship with a new media production company out of LA that was interested in kind of getting involved with the web world and that whole thing.
Have you consummated the relationship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, of course. Yeah, that's the only way it works in LA. So that's how it worked. And then that's
well
how
said.
it all started. Right, and then so we kind of developed, we hand in hand developed the show, and summer of 2007, we were holed up in a dorm building and just basically shot the whole first season in 16 days, and weren't quite sure what was going to come out the other end, but luckily people are still watching it, which is nice, and got us a second season. So that's kind of that's how it started.
And most importantly, it got you on UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry, of course.
This is a big deal for me. This is a very big deal for me, and that's
the highlight of your career so far.
That's saying a lot.
For those that have not seen Dorm Life, and they should start watching, what is it? I assume it's about dorm life.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a college mockumentary. It takes place in a dorm floor, following these students kind of on their first year, their freshman year, experiencing college, or coming in with their expectations of what college may be, and how their journey changes and how it transforms over the course of the adventures of their first year. We chose the perspective of telling all of our stories on a dorm floor. We don't really branch out into the other into broader scoping stuff of college. A lot of our stories and the idea of college is told simply through this hallway, but we're excited that it can just in a matter of one hallway and a bunch of rooms, there can be a lot of compelling stories and funny stuff. Always.
Now,
yeah.
Now your character is Mike Sanders. Seems sort of maybe the straight man in a sense, but everybody in the show is hysterically funny. Where does your character come from? Did you kind of base that off yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we as the creators and the writers, we all kind of collaborated initially when we were striking the ideas and the characters, and just kind of started talking archetypes of people we had met in college, and various individuals that we'd met while we were in the dorms, or people that might be integral to various stories that we had been wanting to tell in the dorm. And then from that list, we started kind of, getting them a little bit more grounded for what, some of the characters are a little more off the ground than others. But my character, Mike, yeah, I think there's definitely some influence from, I guess, my, as an individual, I share a lot of common, characteristics with Mike, but yeah, I think we really wanted to go ridiculous with the show, and we wanted to have a lot of fun with it. And, in order to justify the fun and how far we go with some of these stories, we kind of needed to have that perspective that was more grounded, more, the audience's voice in the show. Mike is still very fun and very fun-loving and accepting of most, individuals on the floor. And for that, it's not so much like, who are these crazy people? Why are they drinking all the time? Like, kind of having that negative viewpoint or perspective on it, but kind of just Mike represents in my mind the normal college student approaching college with a positive outlook and an excitement of not knowing what to expect. And for what that's worth, that's kind of what season 1 Mike was. Season 2, Mike's on a different journey, I think.
So I assume that you've run into all these characters, the kids that drink a lot, the kid that sells the pot. My personal favorite character, High School Emily. That's that's fairly universal for some more than others, but that's an inside joke for just you and I, apparently.
Is there a personal story you want to share with everybody right now?
No, not at all.
Sure, okay.
This interview's over.
No, I got it.
Yeah, so I assume these are all people that you guys have run into and just kind of branched off into these big stereotypes?
Yeah, there's definitely, there's certain characters that we have met, and some we constructed, elements of. I mean, there wasn't necessarily like, I don't know if I can point to an individual character and say, I lived with that person, or I lived, I knew that character. We just flubbed the name around. It wasn't Josh, it was Mosh. I think a lot of what the characters have, like there are those guys that are the heavy drinkers on the floor, and those kind of Gopher and Shane represent the party elements. But there are other characteristics to those individuals that we found from other individuals that are like, the instant best friends. There's that type of person that gets on in the dorm floor. So I'd say the safe answer is to say that it's a whole mismatch of characteristics from people we met.
Gonna have to cut you off. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back. We're gonna see an exclusive clip of the latest edition of Dorm Life right after this. Chris W. Smith will be here as well. We'll see you right back after this. Welcome back. UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. We are joined by Chris Smith via iChat, satellite, some sort of thing areas, the creator, writer, star of the popular YouTube program Dorm Life. Now, Chris, I understand we've got a clip to show. Why don't you set up the clip for us?
Sure. Second season, Mike is definitely going through some difficult times right now. Things aren't lining up too well for himself, and his roommate has now taken a new art project on, which is to create his own documentary, and is kind of stirring the pot with Mike.
This can only be good.
What you're gonna see. Right.
All right, let's roll the clip. Next episode of Dorm Life, starring Chris Smith.
So I think the only players left in markers are myself, Gopher, Daniel.
No one cares about the game, Mike. Come on, who's that beat asshole you brought home on Valentine's Day?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Oh, you don't even know her name, do you, you slut?
Are you trying to pick a fight with me?
And cut. Okay, Michael, I'm making a film. Film requires drama, so do you mind spicing it up a little bit, please?
Doesn't creating the dramatic events defeat the whole purpose of a documentary?
Leave the art to the artist, Mike.
Okay, look, I'm gonna go study with my friend Karen, so I'll talk to you later.
Oh, are you gonna bet her too, Mike? Huh, you man whore?
No, Josh, I'm not like that.
Oh, I'm Mike. I'm not like that. Okay, I don't have to answer questions. Okay, I wear yellow, the color of cowardice.
All right, there you go, Dorm Life. That's a great show. That's a funny thing. And apparently, welcome back. Welcome back, Chris. That was good. I like that.
Thank you. Oh, wait! Whoa!
Uh-oh, we've got more people. This can only be good.
We got more Dorm
gentlemen.
Life creatives in the room.
All right, so who do we have here? Who have we got in the room right now?
Brian. I'm Brian Singleton. I'm Crystal.
Hello, Brian.
I'm Brandon. I play Gopher. I'm Jack DeSena, and I play Shane.
All right, we've got more guys from the cast of Dorm Life. Give it up for these guys, huh?
Thank you.
Guys, you guys have a great show here. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for doing this. Talk about the show a little bit. It's really an ensemble effort by you guys. You guys are all hilarious. Where do all your characters come from? I've got so many questions. I'm babbling. It's great to be talking to you guys. And I noticed that Jack has my hair, so that's cool.
Not quite as I don't have the big ringlets like you got.
Yeah, you don't have the big curls. I spend hours and hours a day on these. You have no idea. It's very difficult.
Yeah, Dormlife is definitely an ensemble. I think because just as we were creating it, the most fun for us was as we were kind of talking about our experiences on the dorm. There were so many different characters that we really wanted to hit on, so many different people that kind of shaped that year when you're all living on a floor together, that it just totally made sense to us to have 10 main characters instead of just one guy that you're following, because we really wanted to focus on every aspect of that. And then I think me and Jack, our characters are definitely the party guys, and that came out of some of our own personal experiences of ourselves and with our friends, and we tried to give it a little more heart than kind of the stereotypical party frat guy of college things that's kind of gross. We really wanted to make these characters that you still like, because a lot of times it was fun to hang out with people and maybe drink or just party in college, and so we didn't want to make that guy a total sleaze.
Just mostly sleaze.
Right. It's mostly sleaze with a little, like,
almost
1%
entirely sleaze.
Yeah. But yeah, and the ensemble thing, that was part of the writing process too. We wrote it as 7, so that sort of group mind feel happened at every stage in the process. Yeah.
Incidentally, if you guys recognize the guy with my hair, Jack DeSena, he was a cast member. I remember the show All That. It was on Nickelodeon. Remember that show? That was a great show. Jack was on that program. Everybody clap for All That, because I just like the show.
Yeah.
Jack, I feel obligated to ask, what was that like to be on All That whole experience of doing this sketch comedy thing every week?
That was awesome. I mean, I joined in the 7th season, so it was, I grew up with it as well, and it was my favorite show when I was young, so it was really, quite literally, that sort of become true thing. So, I mean, it was very cool. And for me, it was a summer job. We always shot during the summer, so I could go to I went to like a public high school, and then my summer job was playing on this big set and getting to play all these wonderful characters and explore all these different fun things. So yeah, it was a very cool chapter.
Cool. We haven't heard from Brian Singleton yet. Brian, that's Marshall, guy on your far left in the white shirt. He plays the RA on Dorm Life, and his character is, to put it in broadcast acceptable terms, a massive tool.
Oh.
Not you yourself, Brian. I'm actually referring to Marshall. I'm sure you're a lovely man, but...
No, I'm not. Yeah, Marshall's like a blueprint of me. Yeah. So
we put it down because we didn't think about it to handle.
So it's like all these guys are playing crazy characters, and then Brian Singleton as himself then.
Yeah. Right. That's correct. No, I actually was an RA in college, so I do draw on that experience of just like dealing with a lot of residents and playing that role of sort of the supervisor or kind of the person responsible. But I do believe I think I was a little bit nicer of an RA when I was actually doing the job.
Oh, I certainly hope so. Those poor kids on your floor must have just been devastated.
Yeah.
They learn that they've got you, and they're just Now you guys have a great show. It's been up for a lot of awards. You guys have been doing the Webbies and the Streamies. What were the Streamies like?
The Streamies were cool. It was the first year that they did them, and they just had the event like a week ago, and it was awesome. It was a huge production, and there was the red carpet, and there was press, and there was it was a huge event, and it's cool to see the new media industry moving forward and being as legitimate as old media, and it's exciting to have our show be a part of that.
Yeah, it's cool to think what the medium is going to be in 10 years and what potentially that award show could be in 10 years, but just to think of being here part of that inaugural class of nominees and really starting this thing that's developing.
Yeah, and I think it also really, because of that, like, we have a lot of relationships with the other people that are working on websodes, because there's not a competition between us. We're kind of all on the same team right now, trying to make this medium succeed and trying to legitimize content that goes out online, because what's going on is really cool, and And so if any show succeeds, it's like the whole medium succeeds. And so we're all friends and we all root for one another. And so it makes for a very exciting award show when everyone's kind of friends or everyone's excited that someone wins, even though, like, obviously we would have loved to win, but we weren't heartbroken that someone else won. We're just excited that there was an award show that kind of added some knowledge of our industry and our medium.
Yeah.
We're really close personal friends, John. We just know him so well.
Right. Neil Patrick's in the back, but he wasn't involved with Dorm Life, so we didn't want to bring him on camera.
Fair enough. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. The cast of Dorm Life, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Singleton, Jim Brandon, Jack DeSena, Chris Smith. You can catch them on YouTube always. Okay, I'm on camera, so you can catch them on YouTube at all times. They're right in the middle of season 2. Cast of Dorm Life. We're going to be back next week with another fun, wonderful, exciting episode of UT Nighttime with Mason Lowry. Until then, have a nice week. We'll see you. Bye-bye.